Okay. Just a second. Live with me tonight. You gotta use your other page, not that page, the other page. Use your K Ross page. Yeah, I sent you an invite on the other one. Okay, let me see. Okay. Oh no, it says you can't join. All right, hold on. Let me see. I don't know why it's saying you can't join. I just sent you an invitation. See if that works.
Hello.
Yay! It worked. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Hi,
Hi.
how are
Hi.
you?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, sound check. Can you hear me
Yes,
okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, hey everybody, I'm Nicole with Notary Training Network, and tonight we're just going to do a quick special little session to talk about a hot topic that came up today. And I have a special guest with me, Miss Keisha Ross. She is one of my students. So, Keisha, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keisha Ross. I have K Ross Signature Notary Mobile Services. I am based in on site at ABB 360 Inc. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and the second Saturday of every month for notary services.
And how long have you been a notary?
I have I've been a notary since December of 2023 after finishing the training under Nicole, and I have been actively working as a notary since June 24th of 2024.
Okay, okay. So, you kind of new to this, so this would be extra exciting. So, you want to get right into it, or you want to share a little bit about how it's been providing notary services at ABB 360 first?
Sure, I can share. So my experience so far has been uh, very, let's say, pleasant. I Since I finished training, I have support. I feel as though Nicole is a great resource for questions, concerns, or anything that is new and unusual to me that I may encounter. Working at ABB 360 is just a delight. It's great to have a physical location to work from. It makes it convenient for customers as well as myself to be able to provide those notary services without, working from home or also the travel and commute to customers' destinations. And then the business there itself provides another layer of support and protection on-site services that they offer some customers. It's like one-stop shopping. So customers may come in to see me and then could utilize the services that they also provide as well.
Okay. And then have you done any mobile notary appointments at all to compare the two as yet?
I have not. I have not
Okay.
done performed any mobile notary services. I have not had any requests as of yet. I do have a website that is linked on my Instagram page for anybody that is interested or would like to review the services that are available that I can notarize the type of documents. But no, I have not performed any mobile notary services.
Okay. So before we get into tonight's hot topic, I think we should ease into it just a little bit. So
Okay.
can you kind of tell us what type of customers you get that do walk-in appointments? Like, what's the feel of the customers? What's the vibe of the customers?
Okay. Certainly. So the area that the business is located in is a pretty, I would say, high traffic, foot traffic. Um, it's accessible by all forms of metro, as well as by car. It is I would say, a business um, community. So there are the courthouses. So I have seen documents that range from, um, say, acknowledgments for missing identification that they need to have their forms notarized in order to submit for specialized licensing. I have had notary requests for, I want to say it was like a withdrawal from specialized bank accounts like 401k and um, things of that nature.
Mhm.
Um, I've had a passport, some type of identification provided. I'm sorry. Um, hmm. Most of the documents that I have seen have been financial in nature. It has been for people that are making, I guess, performing transactions regarding um, today's transaction was a deed. I mean, the beneficiary of a deed. Um, there are like banking transactions and so forth, but those are the typical ones that I've seen. There have been other requests. I have not been available to, I was not on site to perform the other services that were requested. So I would say it's a wide range of a variety of different types of notary requests that may come in. The ones that I've typically I have completed were regarding financial institutions, withdrawals, or banking services that required notarized documents.
And I like that you're a new notary, performing or providing notary services. How do you feel as far as your mindset getting these types of requests? I know it's always different levels to growth, but is it like completely stretching you out your comfort zone? Is it along the lines of what you were kind of expecting? What type of expectations did you have starting out, or did you have any expectations starting out?
So I will say I didn't have any expectations initially. But what I have encountered, it does not take me too far out of my comfort zone. I apologize for the noise in the background. It doesn't take me too far out of my comfort zone because I have a background in finance and banking. So I'm confident in reviewing a document and ensuring that, and understanding, knowing, and being able to read through documentation. I mean, identification. So that's one thing that I would say. As a notary, you definitely have to take your time and review because we're in the state of Maryland. I have had a few customers that have presented documentation that was from outside the state of Maryland, so driver's license from Florida and so forth. But one thing you have to remember is that their licensing number may not be as long as the state of Maryland, and the dates you have to pay attention to their expiring date, the issuing date, and things of that nature, and being able to verify if that document, that photo ID or license, is a legal document that you have in your possession. So I would say that I didn't have too many expectations. I'm not too far outside of what I'm comfortable with as far as reviewing documentation. Notary in itself was entirely new to me. So again, just knowing that I have some support on the back end in the event that I come across something that may be a challenge to me, I have questions on. It's just, it's great to know that I have a resource with you that I can reach out and get the assistance I need to get through any of the transactions that I'm handling.
And then it's important because you're dealing with the public. Let's touch on customer service just a little bit. Do you feel as though you have to provide a certain level or a certain type of customer service, or how are the clients when they come in? Because I know we can't please everybody all the time. How's that as far as customer service and the interactions that you have on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, certainly. So there's a wide range of customers. Um, I think that being consistent and having some structure and how you interact with people is very important. And to always do the same thing every single time. So that way you're providing the same level of service to every customer so that you're not, our business is based on customers. Ultimately, we wouldn't be a business if we are not able to service the public. So you have to leave biases out. You have to, you know, um, engage with everyone. I would say being friendly, but be firm because
Mhm.
ultimately you cannot allow someone to talk you into performing a task that you may not be 100% comfortable with. That way you have to protect yourself um, in the end because it's your name that's on the document stating that this information is true to the best of your knowledge. You're taking a document, a blank document, and legalizing it essentially. So I would say there are people that rush or yeah, they come in, they rush. They're in a hurry. Parking is an issue. It is the business is located in downtown Baltimore, as I stated. It's a highly trafficked area with all of the different forms of traffic, and so people come in thinking that it's like a 2 3 minute instance, but for the moment you accept the customer, always I would say to start, like if I was to give a order in which I acknowledge everyone that comes through the door, whether it's a service for me or a service for the business that I'm in. So I acknowledge everyone. Whoever comes to me, then I will, if I'm busy at that moment, I will ask them to please excuse me and allow me a few moments to prepare myself for their service. Once the person has taken a seat, then I will ask them, how can I help them? And in some cases, they will describe to you, kind of, inform you as to what their request entails. So once I have a general idea of what it is, I'll look over the document and I'll ask for their photo identification. And before I begin to log anything into my book, we discuss the rate for the notary service and based on whether it is a multiple pages included in the document that would require notarization. I have not had multiple pages in any scenario as of yet. So it's been a single page document that I've had to notarize. And I discussed the fact that it is a cash-free environment. So explain to them the different forms in which they can make payment, that I can accept payment. And then I proceed with, again, verifying that the photo identification that's provided is a legitimate form and it is valid, as well as review the document that has been provided to me. And I think that what I've learned today, based on what I experienced, it is important to review the document that you're provided in its entirety before signing anything because there may be errors in um, where the document came from. Essentially, I know we'll get to that part later, but whoever drew up the paperwork had made an error in the name on the document. So being able to catch that before you start writing is important because you don't want to alter the form in any way. And ultimately, if the information doesn't match the person in front of you, then you can't perform. You can't continue with the service.
So this is a perfect segue right into what we're going to be talking about tonight, actually, because it had to deal with notarizing paperwork who involved the name of a deceased person. Now, I know going to class can't prepare you for everything, and we've had conversations where I've mentioned to you that part of providing notary services is learning on the job. So before we get into the questions, can you just give us a little bit of backstory about the situation that happened today with that document?
Yes. A customer came in today. She presented me with a acknowledgement page of the document. This page stated that she was essentially the beneficiary of a deceased loved one who, I'll say, Sarah Doe or Jane Doe was the name of the customer. The document said wrongful death of John Doe. And further down in the portion of the document that was necessary for me to sign and notarize, it stated that John Doe was is appearing before me, signing away or seeking a notary service. John Doe was the deceased individual's name, and this was one of his beneficiaries. So as I was reading through the document, I had to stop there when I saw that the name did not match, and ultimately the name was on the document again, but this individual was listed as deceased. So I asked the customer for the rest of the document. Initially, I think I may have requested, like, do you have power of attorney or a death certificate? So the individual said that she did not have power of attorney. She didn't have any paperwork pertaining to that. And she had the death certificate. I don't believe she had it with her. She would have to leave to come back with it. But she did allow me to read the entire document that was provided. So this document was issued from an insurance company. Again, she was a beneficiary, and there were several others. She basically presented the signature pages, or if I'm saying it correctly, the page that needed authorization. And not only did she have the page printed for herself, but for her other siblings who also received portion of this death claim. And we reviewed the document. I reviewed the top portion of the document. It was clearly stated that John Doe was deceased. However, he can't be present in front of me, of course, to sign, and I couldn't move forward with notarizing that document. So to better serve the customer, because ultimately the goal is to try to help as much as you possibly can. I asked that she contact the insurance company and see if they could possibly just update the document to reflect that she is present and not the deceased individual. She was able to do so successfully. She was able to get the representative on the phone. I think that in general it was a error in their maybe it's like a template that they used, and instead of placing her name, they just repeated the name of the deceased individual. So he was able to correct it. Initially, before correcting it on his end, he suggests to her that the notary scratch out the deceased individual's name and place her name on the document. And I shared with her, or explained to her that that will alterations to the document will I cannot notarize anything like that, and it ultimately it may not be accepted by the company or agency where those documents will eventually go. So he was able to correct it on his end and then email the document back over in a timely manner so that we were able to get it printed and completed on her behalf. And again, it was a one-stop shop environment there. She was able to get those processes done, as well as scan the document back out and send it over to save herself any additional time. So we were able to satisfy her notary request for today. But key takeaways: review the document, take as much time as you need, ask questions. Again, because the person will be leaving out with your name, verifying that document, making that document a legal document, and in which it would not have been, it would not have been correct. I did explain one other thing. I did explain to the customer because I didn't know the customer. This is my first time meeting her, but considering what the document pertained to and the physical appearance of the customer, she did look, a bit stressed and I don't want to say stressed, upset. and the nature of the matter was that it was a parent that was deceased. So I understood, the compassion is there. I understood that this had been a time-consuming process. By the end of her visit, she kind of just opened up like a flower. She started explaining to myself and to the owner of ABB 360 that all of the obstacles that she went through to get to us. So that made for a very pleasant and delightful experience in the end. She was able to get her printing needs and scanning needs performed on site as well as the notary service. And we were patient enough to work with her while she resolved the issue with the insurance agency to correct the document.
A couple of things I want to point out, and kudos to you as well, because that's a bold move, especially as a new notary. I always say, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to read the document. I can't imagine it may have made you feel a little bit under pressure if the insurance agent is telling you to make a correction for a deceased person at that,
Yeah.
which is absolutely altering a document, which we shouldn't be doing. How did you feel in that moment, because you had to take ownership of the situation to say we're not about to do this?
Yeah, so I thank you for that. That is a good point. I just kind of erred on the position that um this was the right thing for her, right? So I just reiterated several times that we're going to work with you to help you get this done. I understand that this may have been a long process. However, and I forgot to say this, I explained to her, you're present, and this relative, your mom, is not present here. This line here states that, I'm sorry, I don't want to give too much details away. That the
You didn't give
deceased
no
person,
name, so you
oh, okay,
good.
that the deceased person has appeared. That I am verifying that I am physically in front of John Doe. So she understood that it was in the wording. It was clear. But as she thanked me several times because it was just a matter of taking the time to read through it. So I did explain to her, like reassure her, basically. I don't want to say explain. I just kept reassuring her that, once we get the paperwork corrected, you'll be able to get this done. You won't have to keep coming back. The ultimate goal here is to just, for a service, for a visit like this, to only have to service you once. I don't want you to have to make additional trips back in here to correct something, or you
Exactly.
got this document notarized, you sent this off, and then the back office of his company or this insurance company rejects it for any reason. So, and I think that reassuring her that we were working in her favor um, helped her to feel more comfortable with explaining, because there at one point there was a bit of hesitation because the guy said with confidence, "Hey, just scratch it out," And luckily it was on speaker. So at that moment, I then relied on the resource that I had available at the office, which was can I say his name? Cedric. So I just took the document to him to say, "Hey, do you see this error in the wording?" And so it was a first experience for myself, and I, I just knew that in reading it and what it clearly stated to me, that it wasn't something that I could move forward with. And I think that just reassuring the customer, I think that I would say from a customer service perspective, not to make the customer feel like they are doing something wrong, um, because none of us knew what the situation was. But she knew that she received these documents from an insurance company, and it was just a matter of her reaching back out to the people who issued the document to get it corrected. Now, had it been anything else, I would be confident in giving a firm no, that I cannot perform the service for her.
And
But
having
in this
that
instance,
hesitation and that resistance probably didn't help. I can imagine you
yeah,
may have had a tense couple of seconds or a couple of minutes trying to get her to understand, you know, we can help you, but we
Yeah.
need this to be corrected.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, once it was, clear on our end, then she was more, she was able to speak confidently to the gentleman on the phone and get him to, correct it and expedite it as quickly as possible. So,
And this is important that we're having this conversation as well in preparation for the fraud awareness conference for notaries, because you have a whole insurance company, a big conglomerate agent who probably does this every single day, telling you, the notary, to alter a document, and not just even altering a name on a document, altering the name of a deceased person on a document. So if
yeah.
it was me, I would need to see a copy of a death certificate, something to
Hmm.
even prove that this person is deceased, because we were
Correct.
just talking about fake document
Mhm.
yesterday.
Yes.
We've had those conversations.
Yes.
So yeah, she could come in there with a sob story, but yeah, the whole thing could be a front as well. So
Yes.
I'm so proud that you stood your ground for
Thank you.
her and for the insurance agent, to let them know
Yes.
you're not about to have us doing no fraudulent activity in here, because how many other notaries may be in the same position as you? They're new. This is the first time they're encountering something like this. They probably thinking, oh, well, this person, they put the paperwork together. They know what they're talking about. And clearly, I don't know what state they're in, but that might fly in their state. But we're not going to allow that to work here. So it's
Yeah.
important to understand those basics, and especially why it's essential for them to have proper documentation, when being a representative of a deceased person or trying to get any paperwork done for a deceased person. And I also want to add as a point as well, if somebody does have a power of attorney, that power of attorney, um, is no longer in effect if the person is deceased. Then it switches over to, do they have the proper paperwork to show that they are either the executor of the estate or something along those lines. So I wanted to add that as well.
Yes.
Now,
Thank you for, yeah.
you're
Okay.
welcome. Now, other than the wording being incorrect, did you have any other red flags, or if you didn't think to read through the document and you actually did notarize that, what do you think some mistakes that other notaries who aren't as diligent may encounter if they have a similar or the exact same type of situation?
Oh, that's a great question. So, other than the name, initially when she sat down, like I said, she came in with several pages. And at first, I'll be honest, I was like, wow, so I want to make more money than one notary today, like one signature. So she sat down, she had several pages, and then she pulled this one out and said, this is for me, explain to me what it was. So I noticed that when I asked her, "Can I see the document?" she had to pull it up electronically on her phone, because the other pages were all of the other beneficiaries that this money was being dispersed to, and it was the exact same page for them, but it just was their name
So
under
they
the
had it
first line.
wrong on all the pages.
Yes,
Oh,
so I
wow.
definitely
And
wanted
if
to
they
say
went to
that.
another notary, they may not have caught it. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So all of the other pages on that section said that the deceased parent was the person that was appearing before the notary. So the red flag then was, that when I saw that, like, if she doesn't have any of the documents, with the
And she
power of
only
attorney, when I
had the
asked,
signature page. Am
she
I understanding correctly?
she only had the signature page, and I
Oh,
want to say it
wow.
was at least six individuals. So it was just 6 pages of the signature. And oh, out of state identification. So again, I took my time. I reviewed the identification thoroughly. I even raised it because the I don't want to say watermark, but the way the identification has like this light that reflects
The
or
security features.
security features
Yeah.
on ID. So I just made sure that it was valid. Again, that goes back to what I said earlier. If you're only familiar with the state of Maryland, then you have to kind of familiarize yourself with at least the what the other states' identifications look like to know that you're being presented with legal identification, but also look for the security features on the ID. With that, I mean, I'll just add this part. I did ask her for if the address on this identification was current, and she told me it wasn't. She lives in Maryland.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so
And
I
she never
said,
updated her ID.
yeah. So I asked, I said, do you have any documentation with the valid address on it? So she pulled up her lease, and I just documented that in my journal. But yeah, so those were a few. But like you said, considering the nature of the request, because the fact that she was coming in to deal with this matter after losing a parent, it was overwhelming. But there were a few things that just not having the full document, when I saw that it's only said that the deceased person was appearing before me, then my instinct was this whole entire thing may be
A
fake.
little bit
But
sketchy. Yeah.
yeah, but once we were able to discuss it, and she she was confident to contact the insurance company right there on site. And also she conducted the phone call on speaker, and again the information came over, it was corrected. But I do recall mentioning to her, in the process of telling her we want to get this done, reassuring her that we can get this done for her and make this a one-time visit for this particular request. I did say, I don't know what happens when your documents go back to his company. Like you said, it's a large insurance company. I don't know if it goes to an underwriter or what the next steps are for this document, but it may get to that division and they may not honor it because, he wants us to scratch out a name. Or if I didn't see it and I notarized it with that name there, it's going to be rejected because definitely there's another set of eyes that has to go through before they will, disperse um, whatever she was qualified to get. So
And I like that you mentioned that because me being me, I probably would say, well, I need to see the whole actual whatever this signature page is attached to. So if that's a 10-page contract or settlement offer or whatever the case is, I would be like, well, why don't you have this whole thing printed out? Because it could be mistakes in there as well.
that's
And then I like that you mentioned as far as the verification and asking for those additional supporting documents. Did you by chance happen to ask her if she had to change the address card?
I didn't, but
Okay.
I will make note of that for the future references. Yeah, because I want to say, um, I want to say that's maybe the second person who presented identification that was not Maryland
Mm.
identification, but they had a Maryland address that they reside at.
And I like that you even asked, because you're saying that she presented an out-of-state ID and she
Mhm.
actually lives in the state. So that could be another red flag in itself. Like, what are you trying to do? Is
Exactly
there
what I thought.
anything else? Listen,
Um,
we know the type of conversations that we have.
yes, yeah.
Is there anything else, thinking back after the fact, from what you're telling me, it sounds like you did a pretty good job in verifying everything in the moment, but is there anything else that you could think about now after the fact, talking about it, that you may have done differently or could have done differently as far as verifying either her or the document or getting them to update the paperwork?
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So now that I'm aware about the power of attorney not being in effect upon death, I would have requested to see the entire document, um, separate from what she provided. Well, she only had, the I mean, I don't know what it was, the insurance documentation on her phone electronically. She physically had the printed pages of the acknowledgement for each of her siblings. So I would have thoroughly read through that. Definitely would have requested the change of address card to show or verify that she has established herself in Maryland, because I don't know. Of course, the lease has the dates on it, but I think it's what, like 30 days they have to do so. So I would have verified that. Um, I think I would have still allotted that amount of time because I did not have another appointment, so it wasn't an inconvenience to me to dedicate that much time to help her through that transaction. Trying to see. Um, I think that just knowing the right questions and verifying everything that's presented to you because the red flags they go up with when I saw that name, then and I didn't have a full contract or document, then I said, okay, well, there's no letterhead on this page. It just says, I think I sent you a copy. It just basically was a statement that
Mm-hmm.
required dates and notary signature and the signature of the customer.
Right.
So, it created a pause for me. Um, I reached out um, to seek assistance, and I'm thankful that she was patient with me through the process. I don't think I broke a sweat, so I didn't alarm her to the fact that I'm very new to this as well. But yeah, I think that definitely requesting additional documents, and if there was no way that that name could have been changed, I was firm with saying no, with an explanation, because I'd already explained to her based on the way it appears, I'm not able to move forward. However, you can reach out and see if they can correct it. So, but yeah, if they were not able to correct it, then that the service would have ended at that for me.
And I'm happy that you mentioned time because she probably walked in thinking it might be a quick 5 minute in and out, put the notary stamp on there. She probably wasn't expecting to be told this is wrong. She probably wasn't expecting to say, well, you got to call your insurance company and tell them to fix it. She probably wasn't expecting to have to show proof of the additional documentation or her address or anything like that. So it's important to mention that because sometimes we do have to educate the public as notaries.
Yeah.
And then also, do you know or do you remember about how long it took? Because I know I can imagine it may have taken some waiting to go back and forth trying to reach the insurance agent. So this wasn't a quick in and out.
No, it wasn't. I believe for her service with me, I would say possibly like 25 minutes. And then, like I said, she finished everything with getting her documents scanned. Um, so I would say altogether maybe 30 minutes, which I mean that's on her side as a consumer. As a consumer, I think that I don't think there was any room to complain because we were able to achieve something for her that, she could have gone somewhere else. They would have gave her a flat out no because the document did not have her name in that space. Or she could have went somewhere and they could have done it, and then the document would have been rejected on the other end, which would have
Yeah.
ultimately put her in a situation that had to, seek another notary. So overall, I think that the time was about 30 minutes tops, and I think we satisfied um, her needs for notary services and resolved that issue for her. So I think it was pretty efficient.
And then I like that you mentioned the compassion piece as well, because I don't know if you have any of the pins that I have there, but I believe it says community, compassion, and I should know what my pins say, right? But I don't.
I want
I
one.
know compassion is one of the words on there.
Okay.
So I always was struggling with because I know I'm compassionate as a person, but how do I put this into my brand? So I love that you're saying this and the fact that you had to take that moment to pause to educate the consumer because she probably came in there flustered and she may or may not have told you
Mhm.
that this has already gotten rejected or she's gotten some of that pushback or she's gotten some of those answers
Yeah.
from other places and her trying to get this done. Do you remember if any of that came up with her opening up a little bit more to you to tell
Yeah.
you how this process or this journey she's been going through has taken her?
Yes. So you hit the nail on the head. She definitely said that she was flustered. As I said, you could see that, she just looked kind of just tired, exhausted. So her earlier in the day, she went to another business that offers printing services. I won't say any names. And she stood in line for a long time, only to find that they wouldn't, she wasn't able, how can I put it? Oh, this answers why she didn't have the full contract. So, of course, we didn't get this information until the end of the service. So she went to another company. She tried
Mm.
to use their self-serve copier to copy, but she wasn't able to designate or the certain pages that she needed printed, which were those acknowledgement pages.
Okay.
So she stood in line for a very long time. The service was bad, as she said, and that was just to get the documents printed. And then she still had that other piece. Now she had to find a notary. She
Oh,
Googled,
wow.
yep. So she found the business upon using Google. And again, it was an opportunity to have everything done in one place. And then, like you said, with the taking the time to be thorough, read through the document, educate her, like you said, on what component of the document made it um, ineffective for me to notarize. And then giving her the time to get a corrected document um, to provide while she was physically there. I think it made a world of difference for her. And so she had a lot going on.
It sounds
And we were able
like
to, yeah,
it.
yeah, satisfy all of those concerns at one visit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that if you believe in angels, angels are definitely real. Sounds like you might have been an angel for her in that moment, helping to calm her frustrations and showing a little bit of compassion, a little bit of empathy, and the fact that you had everything that you needed right there for her to be
Yeah.
able to print it, scan it, um, would you say print it, scan it, get
Oh,
the
receive the
notary,
email
get the
and get the notary.
email, and do everything and make it a one-stop shop. I can't just imagine how you can see the frustration leaving her. So
Yeah.
you know that that's gonna bring you more customers because they're gonna be like, yeah, go to Keisha. Keisha gonna get you right. Keisha gonna tell you if your document is wrong.
Right.
She gonna tell you if it needs to be fixed. If you afraid to question your insurance agent because the insurance agent or whoever is supposed to know what they doing. Because at the end of the day, it's just people serving people. And all it takes
Absolutely.
is one person to look at something and be like, something about this doesn't look right. I'm willing to help you, but you got to meet me halfway. Because let's say she kept being resistant or she kept being hesitant and wasn't trying to hear what it is that you were trying to say, she would have got more frustrated.
Oh,
How
yeah.
how do you think it may have went being in the moment if she wasn't open to
Oh,
hearing what you had to say or being receptive to what it was that you were telling her? Because you mentioned that you said it several times.
yeah. I mean, the look on her face was almost like when I said, oh, well, this part of the document has your mother's name on it, and I have to again. I'm sorry, I'm explaining, making this answer too long. So I explained that to her. The look on her face was like, I'm going through this again. Like kind of, after she at the end of the service explained what her entire day kind of entailed, had I not been able to provide the level of service that we did provide and help her execute this, I don't think it would have went well. I mean, I think that it probably would have. I don't even know what type of review she probably would have left it. Because to just tell somebody no without having, trying to understand what it is they're presenting. And honestly, when it was all said and done, I don't think she knew what the document pertained to. She's trying to access whatever benefits were available to her as a beneficiary. She knew that much. How the wording and everything, I don't know how long she had these documents in her, this information in her possession, but she
And
clearly didn't
especially with
read.
it being a wrongful death, it probably is a very, very sensitive situation.
Absolutely. So yeah, I don't think she read that far into the document, and and I just read it over, and I just want to make sure. I said, your name is not on this line. I said he can actually, I'm even maybe doing more than I should have, but I said, just the way
That's
your name appears.
definitely going above and
Yeah.
beyond because I bet you another notary either wouldn't have looked at it to notice that I can't notarize this
Hmm.
or would have done it and done it incorrectly. Because I've seen other posts in social media groups where people are asking, am I supposed to notarize a deceased? Like, how can you notarize for a deceased person? They're not in front of you.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
good
was.
that
It
you
was.
took that
Oh, I'm
moment
sorry.
to ask those
It
questions.
it was a great learning experience too, because I've never seen documents like that. Fortunately, I have to say, I have not experienced that yet with losing a parent. Well, at this age. So yeah, I've never seen those documents. I wasn't familiar with it. I will say that for any new notary, you're going to see documents that you are not entirely familiar with. You have to take your time. You have to be thorough. You have to read through it. You can't skim. That's out of the question. You have to read these forms because, again, your name, your seal, your stamp is legalizing it. So you don't want anybody to get up from your table with documents that are possibly fraudulent and or that are incorrect, and it was going to require multiple visits for the same thing.
Gotcha. So we have just a couple minutes left. So I'm gonna put you on the spot because you know me, I think, fairly well enough personally from a business professional point of view, and you've been through my classes and my program, so you know how my style and my teaching and my mentoring is. So my last question for you is, how can participating in events like our upcoming fraud awareness conference help notaries stay informed and be better prepared for handling situations similar to this, or just situations in general that could have a lot of red flags for potential fraud?
Oh, I think that attending the conference is going to just take your knowledge of fraud to the next level. I mean, um, we live in an age of technology, and there are so many ways that people can duplicate or create documents out of thin air. So, attending a conference, I think in any industry, you have to do your best to stay abreast of changes and information. That is how you stay ahead of your competitors, essentially. And I don't think there's a better resource than for me, to be affiliated or connected with you as a mentee, to have you as a resource, and also to be able to present and keep me and other your other trainees knowledgeable of fraud, and ultimately it protects your business. Having insurance is one thing, but you have to do your due diligence while you're actually out there working to ensure that you're protecting your business on the front end, because you're the person that's actually, assisting the customers face to face. So I think that I'm looking forward to attending the conference, and I don't think that there's never not a reason to continue your education. It's an investment in your business, your brand, to say that you could speak to this um, conversation about fraud. If a customer comes to you and they're unsure of something that they've received, then you have additional knowledge at your fingertips that you acquired by attending a conference, and speaking to professionals who are tenured in the industry, such as yourself. So yeah, I think that it's vital for the success of your brand, the success of your business. People will patronize someone who they feel has that additional level of knowledge behind them, because ultimately they're putting their trust in you to help them legalize documents, and for wide ranges of life life's needs. So I think that attending a conference is very important.
And then the last thing I want you to touch on just briefly, because I feel like it's important that you mention this, putting yourself in the customer's shoes. How important is that when you're providing a service as a notary? Because I know a lot of notaries, they focus on just getting stuff done quick, making money, and it's facts. That's what's out there because a lot of other trainers are teaching you quantity over quality, whereas at Notary Training Network, we focus on quality over quantity. So just share that with us as our last closing thought on what it's like, just taking a moment to put yourself in the customer's shoes to provide a better customer service experience.
Yes. So, yeah, putting yourself in the customer's shoes, you just have to kind of see it from their perspective, right? One thing is you as a consumer, you don't want to be rushed in any business transaction. I think that having speaking to someone who is knowledgeable of what they're doing, that makes a person feel confident. Having a pleasant demeanor, you don't have to be overly friendly, but you at least have to acknowledge and be respectful to the people that you're servicing, and showing consistency, treating everyone the same way, because you never know. I always think like this. I never know who else is in the room that may need my service, right? So I'm providing a service to customer A, but there may be six other people in the business, going about their daily needs, and they may overhear or kind of see how I'm engaging and interacting with my customer.
Right.
If I'm providing poor quality of service, then that just will just end my ability to generate new business, essentially. So putting yourself in the customer's shoes, and at the end of the service, always sharing with the customer that you are available. For me, I can say the particular days that I'm on site, but knowing that the business has notaries available every day, and any of their needs or family needs, they know that they can come back to this location. They can expect us to be there, as opposed to having to Google search and find someone. Um, it's a I think that's a from a customer's perspective. For me myself, I'm a creature of habit. If I receive good customer service from a place, I will patronize that business, and so I like to um, just start from there, giving them a quality level of service, and extend the invite for them to bring more people or continue to bring their business back.
Perfect. I think you summed it up perfectly. So
Thank you.
thank you everybody for joining us this evening on our conversation on customer service as a new notary, all things notary, notarizing for customers and special situations that come up. Because this isn't your usual type of situation.
No.
So again, I am Nicole Bob. I am the owner, founder, creator, creative extraordinaire, all things of Notary Training Network. So you know how to reach us. You can send us a DM or get in touch with us on the website at www.notarytrainingnetwork.org. Conference registration is open. It will be on October 8th. That's a Tuesday, right here in the beautiful city of Baltimore, Maryland. And Keisha, tell us how we can reach you, because I'm sure after hearing how you provide such a high level of service, people may want to come get their documents notarized from you. So tell us how we can reach you, where you'll be at, so we can let the people know.
Certainly. So I am available. I have Instagram, which I'm sharing with now on the live, which is K Ross Signature Mobile Notary NPS, I think. I have a website, which is www.krosssignature mobile notary services, and you can reach me on site. I am based out of ABB 360 Inc., which they also have. There's a website available for them as
And
well. It's
what's
located
the
at,
address? Oh,
yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna ask what's the address.
yes, the address is 10 North Calvert Street in Baltimore, Maryland, 21202 is the zip code. My days on site are Tuesday, Wednesday, and the second Saturday of every month. But that you're not limited to just me. There are other notaries available at the same location every day of the week. Knowledge and my contact information is in the bio on my Instagram page and as well as the website.
Perfect. And I'll add it when I do the post as well. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. I
You're
appreciate you. I
welcome.
appreciate your time. And we will definitely be in touch. So
Yes,
I'll let you get back to your evening. Have a good rest of your night, okay?
you too.
Th-
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Bye.